I can't see you.
You can't see me? How about now? I can see you. Thomas can see me? Nope.
I've got no Scott.
No me. Okay. Can you see the feed on YouTube?
I can see the feed on YouTube is good to go.
But you don't have me. We're live on YouTube, and I can see both of us on YouTube, I think. Let's see.
I've got you too.
Let's see. Possibly because... Why is this not working?
As long as everyone else can see you.
Can anyone see me?
Oh, yeah. We've got confirmation in chat.
And it looks good there. I don't know why you can't see me. Honestly, I'm not sure.
It's okay. We're good.
We'll turn the music down. Will that help? Can you see me now? Nothing changed. I changed nothing on my end at all. It's let me see if it's a zoom setting. I'm pretty sure. I turned off my camera is what I did. Hold tight. It's not fair for Thomas to have to do all this blind. Let's see. Over here. Where's my zoom window? I figured it out. Hey, go ahead. We're just going to restart right off the top. Thomas, how about that? Did that fix it?
Bam! Now I've got you.
Everyone else could see me. I was here the whole time. I really was. It is Friday. It is Friday night, which means it's time for Scott and Thomas Talk, or Thomas and Scott Talk, depending on how you prefer to order us. Thomas, good to be with you yet once again with all these fantastic people here in chat. It's been a long
Looking
day.
forward to it. Excited. We've got episode 7 on the 7th.
Ooh, is that spooky?
Not even planned.
What's it called when the numbers align like that?
Coincidence?
I think you're right. Oh, yeah. Little coincidence. Yeah, it is Good Friday, though. Have a wonderful Good Friday. I wish you a Good Friday as well. Everybody else.
I've got one thing. Scott, is your YouTube muted in the background?
Is my YouTube muted?
Yeah, or your feed?
Are you hearing feedback?
Yeah, I'm getting, it sounds like 2 Thomases and 2 Scotts.
Lucky.
What a good Friday.
Let's see what we've got. We've got you coming through there.
Mo cued the funny chat.
How about that? Are you still there?
I'm here.
Is
It's
it better?
on a delay, but I think we're good.
Did that fix it?
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. First try. I just had to switch the routing of the audio, which I happened to do with one button, and we're good. Vicky Corner says, first time watching this podcast. Scott, do you ever rest? Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, on the weekends. On the weekends we rest. Vicky, it's so good to have you here on the first try. On the first podcast. I don't know how to talk anymore. I obviously need a little more rest than I'm getting.
Yes.
I think this is probably the worst open I've ever done. Do you want to just start over from scratch? I mean, I can play the music and we can pretend it's. Now let's just go in. We're here and everyone else is here. Why draw it out any longer? Let's get going. We talked about the 7th today. 7/7 is
7/7.
Is that a special day for anyone?
Well, it's for those that know or don't know. I'm a huge golf fan and a big golfer. That was my old career. And I feel a little Peter Tragos. I mean, minus the amazing hair.
Yeah, I was going to say you're missing something between the ears and the shoulder.
I don't have the awesome hair, but sometimes he'll throw in a golf hat from somewhere he was. So I did that this time. For those that aren't golf fans, it is Masters week, not just weekend. And if you don't know what that is, it's one of the four majors for golf. It's one of the greatest at a lot of say out of Augusta Country Club in Georgia. And today, the 7th, was Jack Nicklaus's first victory of the Masters, which is incredible because it was the first of six. So
It's the first of the clean sweep for many, many years. That happened way back in 1963. This was before my time. I mean, I look old, but I'm not that old. It was years before my time.
before mine as well. So, and those that don't know, whether you like him or not, Tiger Woods, one of the greatest in regards to wins and getting there. Jack Nicklaus has 18 majors. Tiger's compared to Jack and Arnold Palmer and all those guys throughout his whole career, and Tiger's more modern era. So, kind of a cool circle and a bubble to be in. So, all of us golf nuts are online all day watching the Masters, tuning in, seeing what's going on. Which leads me to a guilty omission of that. I missed a couple hours of the end of your stream today.
Oh my goodness, what should we do, chat? What do we
So-
do?
Guilty as charged.
So you have a real life, you have a job, you have things that you actually have to do during the day other than just sit and watch me on YouTube? I'm confused.
I do, but I don't because I missed because I was catching up on the Masters that I missed throughout the day.
That is a confession. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I know. But so I have a question because I tuned in. I missed your last 2 hours. I tuned in at the end and I overheard something. For those of you in chat that were watching all the true crime, everything that was going on, there was something about Letitia potentially trying to sneak a pen or something, contraband from the
my
court.
goodness.
I tuned in the last like half a second, and it brought me back to Alec Murdaugh, who every time he left, the bailiff was like pulling out mints and a pen and no.
Yes.
But I didn't
Books,
catch the
John
story
Grisham
or the
novels, everything. He was trying to smuggle
Exactly.
everything into court. Okay, here's. Let me give you a brief synopsis. The entire day, Letitia is like this. That was her the entire day. The last 10 minutes of court, she grabs one of those free bottles of bottled water and she's like glug 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 and just as much as she could get. She was just drinking and drinking and drinking, and she grabs a pen and sticks it in her pocket. I'm like, what is going on? Everyone's like, hey, did she just grab a pen? She's like, she did. And now she's like, she's going to drown herself if she drinks much more water than this. It was not like, oh, I'm thirsty, I'll have a sip. It's like, just chugging away. So there's probably a story out there that, that we'll hear about something that might happen. We thought maybe she was trying to have a necessity to use the restroom, and then maybe have the opportunity to conceal the pen further or something like that.
So, and that kind of falls in line because there's stories. I won't say rumors. I don't want to keep. There's stories or rumors of her with the broomstick in jail at one point trying to get out. Right. So that's gonna lead into something like that.
I'm not sure what water and a ballpoint pen can do as far as a jail escape, but I imagine she's got a plan.
When you got that much time, you figured. I guess she doesn't have that much of a verisimilitude personality. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
Just really doesn't.
Yeah, she doesn't have the that appearance of being true, being real.
True, real, the opposite.
Good
right?
word, verisimilitude. Is that just off the top of your head? You just
came to me.
came to you? That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Good work there, Matthew. That was for you. Also, a little item of news. This is from 2001 on today. Today in 2001, I should say, NASA launched the Mars Odyssey spacecraft. For those of you that like to follow all our exploits into the great unknown, for me growing up, it was Star Trek, and I didn't know it wasn't a historical document. I mean, I thought
Right.
that was what the U.S. was doing, but apparently not. Picard was not actually with NASA. It's just a confusion on my part, but we do send things to space, and one of them was the Mars Odyssey spacecraft, which seems like it was so long ago, 2001, and then it just ran and ran and ran forever. Pretty cool stuff.
It is cool. I'll never forget. Not to cast a shadow, but the whole Challenger scenario, just because that was right around my birthday, and I learned about it in school. So it's one of those. It ties into a date for me that I will forever remember, which is sad. But space exploration and all that. So I've always been not an avid follower per se, but intrigued by it when they're doing launches, making sure to pull it up and watch the live launches and things like that. I just think it's incredible.
Just it's amazing what humans can do when they
Really
put their
is.
minds together and do a little bit of math and strap yourself to about a 10,000 pound rocket. The heights you can go to are unbelievable, but
Funny,
amazing. It's amazing.
funny story to that. The more silver lining. So the movie Dumb and Dumber, hopefully most have seen. There's a scene when he's in the bar, and I forget the young lady he's with, but he's got a cowboy hat on and his stuff, and he gets real annoyed by her, and he goes to leave, and he looks at a little plaque on the wall, and it's of Armstrong, and he goes, "We've landed on the moon!" Like it's today's news. That was ad-libbed by Jim Carrey. That was not in the script.
And it stayed. It was
And
some of
and
that
it
stuff is
stayed,
just so
and they
good. I
loved it.
love those background. Hey, you're talking about movies. You can't, speaking because today's April 7th, you can't skip the fact that one of the greatest stuntmen ever in movies, his birthday's today, Jackie Chan.
Oh,
Yep.
I know he's known for way more, but like Rush Hour.
Oh, everything. What he's famous for is he doesn't have like somebody who does his stunts for him. He just does them himself. He's like, who needs a stunt double? I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some people who would try it, but this guy, he's probably broken almost every bone in his body at one point or another. You sign him up for a movie, and you're like, I'm not sure if he's going to live through this one because we got some pretty crazy stunts in there.
They're like, oh, we got to get a double for when he goes down. What are we going to do?
For me, it's entertaining just to know that I'm watching an actor who, when the action happens, is going to be in the shot. It's not going to be like CG'd in. I'll get like a rear view of somebody on a motorcycle that has a wig that looks like the actor type thing. It's actually him making the jump, or for me that's awesome. This brings a realism level to the movie that I realize actors or stunt doubles do it. Somebody does the stunt, right? In most cases, unless it's CG. But knowing that the actor says, "Yeah, I can do that. I'll take the fall. I'll jump out the fake window and fall 3 stories and land on a inflatable mat." That for me is pretty cool.
And well, when you speak of stunts, that brings you to a circus. People doing circus acts and whatnot, right?
Oh my goodness, the trapeze artists and everything. Circus actually they sort of went away, right? It was like what was it? 5-10 years ago, somewhere in that range. The circus just disbanded, and it's no more a thing. It's been around for a long time.
The big one was what, Barnum and Bailey?
Yes, P.T. Barnum. Isn't that like basically the story from The Greatest Showman?
I think so.
We're going to start a circus, and it's going to be all of us freaks are going to get together, and we're going to do our stunts and do crazy things, and people will pay us money to do this.
Circus freaks.
Yes, Circus Freaks. P.T. Barnum. It's a musical. Circus Freaks, the musical. Awesome. Yes, it was P.T. Barnum. He died today in 1891. So the Barnum from Barnum and Bailey also today.
So one goes, and a new one.
Yep.
Comes
A few years apart. He died in 1891, and Jackie Chan was born in 1954. So there was about a 6-year drought. But other than that, we've had some good entertainment between the two, and the circus was around for a while. I'm just trying to see who else has been to the circus. If you got a chance, actually, we're talking like the big top, right? Not just like a carnival where somebody did a trapeze or something. But if you've been to the circus, and you could say, "I did that," Ritz possibly. Dilly Pickles has hands up. I'm not sure if that means yes or no.
I was going to say anyone in chat watching our podcast, they qualify.
Yes, the circus is in town right here, and you have front row seats. Welcome.
And it's free.
We can start the music, do a little dance. I've never been to the circus, says Ginger Meadows. I can't believe I'm the only one dressed as a pirate, says Lisa. You dressed as a pirate, and we forgot. Lisa, sorry about that. I thought we were all going to do this together, and I completely let the ball drop.
That's funny.
Wildfire went to the Barnum and Bailey's big one in 1976.
Awesome.
Adam
I bet
says,
it was so good then versus as the circus phased out. I bet it was so much more raw and fun.
Towards the
I
end,
would have to
there was
think.
more concern about animals and safety and things like that. The beginning, there's a little net and that's about it. And you've got lions and zebras and elephants and everything else. I don't know what else. What animals do they have other lions and elephants? Like seals that clap and balance and stuff. What other circus animals are there? I'm thinking Dumbo, and I can't think of. I mean, giraffe. Do they have a giraffe, or is that just in the?
I guess it might depend on the circus, right? Where they're at.
Adam says I went to the DB trial, which counts as a circus, or he saw the DB trial.
Absolutely, that does.
Kay went to the circus in Virginia. Ringling Brothers, it was huge. Elephants were awesome. Yeah, the tent that stunk. The tent stinks. Yes, but that's the mystery. It's like being able to go inside the tent. All around, something's happening in there. It's a big draw. The flags on top and everything.
What's happening inside?
Big.
So Scott, real quick, I've got Echo coming back. Is the iPad running?
Nope. Echo's returning.
Yeah, I've got our conversation about 5 seconds after our conversation.
That is a circus. That's going to be your audio listening to the YouTube. Your audio on YouTube's live.
I've got you muted.
Okay. I don't know how to fix that one. I'm not showing an outgoing signal. That's the problem. So I think it might be on your side.
We can trudge through.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. If you just get lost and say, "Sorry, I'm still 5 seconds back in the conversation," I'll know. Let's jump ahead to some current events. Does that work?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go
so
first?
Part of the circus that's fun is circus food.
Mm-hmm.
Popcorn, nachos,
circus
whatever
peanuts. Is that circus food?
Peanuts, the staple. Mm-hmm. Nailed it. So it's not circus peanuts, things like that. But sticking with things on this date, it happens to be a current event. Today is National Cereal Day.
Wow. Let's celebrate. What cereal is your favorite? Off the top of your head. Captain Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Oh, can I change it, actually?
Yes.
Yes. I would take Captain
It tears up my mouth, the roof of my mouth. It's brutal. It's
so bad.
It's like don't eat blood, eat Captain Crunch. That's like the slogan. But but oh my goodness, it's so good. With the crunch berries. You can't just do the plain.
Okay, so I'm playing. No crunch berries for me.
We can't be friends anymore.
Well, well, we're just podcast partners, so that's okay.
That works. Circus peanuts. Lisa wants to say bearded women. She's still talking about what she sees at the circus.
Oh yeah. Another circus animal.
Candy floss. Other people are talking breakfast cereal. They made the switch. Wildfire says Cocoa Puffs. Cornflakes says 6-foot bus. Remember when Cornflakes had it was always like the Olympic athlete of the games was on the cover.
Yeah.
I don't. What's on the front of Cornflakes now?
I haven't bought a box in so long. I don't know. I'm actually scared to ask, to be honest.
Can someone in chat tell me who's the latest person to be like the Cornflake box, the face of Cornflakes?
Yeah.
If it's like Kim Kardashian or something, we're gonna have to just end the podcast right now.
So we've got a couple saying the rooster. So just the rooster's back.
There's the Kellogg rooster. It's a chicken. It's not a guinea, it's a chicken. Too soon on that one.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. Okay, I remember the Michael Jordan. So NBA stars are on there. Cocoa Crunch, Big Shining Sun, Honey Bear Smacks, Grape Nuts and Shredded Wheat. 6-foot bus is running to grab a cereal box right now, so hold tight. He's going to look and see what's on the cover.
On standby.
Wheaties had the sports heroes. It was Wheaties, huh? I tell you, I grew up so poor. We always got like the generic brand, like bagged version. So we never got to see the cover.
But you get so much in that bag.
It seems to go faster. Because have you ever tried to open one of those bags? They seriously designed them so that they explode on opening. And it's like if you can pick up parts enough off the floor that didn't get dirty to eat, it'll work. But it's impossible to open.
That's why people started feeding their chickens with it, because it just went all over the place, and
now you have the rooster on the box, and that makes sense. Full circle. Yeah. That makes sense, guys. Thanks for explaining that to us. Great National Cereal Day. Also, something fun that happened today. It's achieving great things. On my bucket list is, of course, owning a Tesla Plaid. I am 4.6% closer to owning a Tesla Plaid today. I want to say thanks to everyone to make that possible, but no, Tesla just lowered the price by 4.6% to the Tesla Plaid, so it still is $104,990, which is still about $104,990 more than I have for a Tesla Plaid. But if a Tesla was in your dream, garage, it's just a little bit closer to making a reality.
So you're still at Tesla ground zero.
Very much ground zero. I don't think I'm ever getting off the ground on that one. I just don't think I can justify it. Nor do I think that my power grid here in the little city that I live in could support the charging it. It's all I can do to run the podcast and not have a brownout in the neighborhood.
You're going to start getting letters from the city if you keep.
They send me letters, but it has a power
electronics
bill
to
attached to it.
Those are wild, though. The G's they talk about that you feel.
Oh, it's like a rocket ship on land.
Yeah. My good friend has a Model 3 or whatever, older model, but still. And I love fast cars. I've got my motorcycle and all that, but he took me for a test ride on the way to the golf course, and holy smokes.
He pushes the pedal and it just pins you to your seat, and you're just like,
Yeah.
and it's instant acceleration, which is what gets you. Most of the time in a gasoline engine, it sort of has to ramp up and for the torque to be, for everything to line up. And there's like a power band, sort of thing where it just has the sweet spot where it's really accelerating. But it's like 0 to 60 it's almost instant. It just feels like
It is. And the other thing that's really cool that they don't really talk about. So if you don't have an electric vehicle or drive one, even a scooter, you wouldn't know it. I'm going to use the wrong term, but it's like degenerative braking or generative braking, one of the two. But they literally, you just let off the pedal and it brakes so fast that he says, I use my brakes maybe once a month. If it's an extreme situation,
and then it's
but when
only
you're coming up to
shift
traffic,
gears.
you just let off the gas pedal and it brakes so quickly because the engine is slowing it down that you don't brake.
It's cool technology. I mean, it's a different car. It's different than what we grew up with. Wildfire saying, I have Tesla stock and I am sad. Wildfire, you are probably now, what's 4.6 times 2? 9.2% further from owning a Tesla because the stock price dips when they drop their product price. I'm sorry about that. The rest of us are closer to achieving our dream at your expense. I'm sorry. I do apologize. I'll take my
Ashley
portion.
T corrected, or no, Ashley R. Sorry, regenerative
yes.
braking.
Because
it I told you I was going to mess it up.
It regenerates electricity. It puts power back into the batteries. So
Exactly.
It saves it. Like engages a generator, and the resistance slows the car.
Yep, super cool. It's awesome.
Cool. We learned something today. Thanks all for being here.
Yeah.
Tesla's not for me, says Cakes Poo. Sounds like a UFO taking off. That scares me as a parent with kids. The fact that a car can be zipping around the corner and I'm not going to hear it.
Can't hear it at all.
Good thing it stops by itself and like avoids accidents and never crashes into anything, right?
Says no headline ever.
We're going to get sued about right now by Elon, and there goes my Twitter account.
Here comes Elon. We're toast for defamation.
Yeah, if you think of Tesla's never crashing, and I immediately think back to the iRobot movie where it's like, you were experiencing a vehicle accident.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we've got. Someday the technology will be there.
Right.
Which trial did we watch when the word torque was used? Was that the Sanderson ski expert? I think so. Red Pen. I think that was the amazing ski expert that drew the great stick figure pictures.
It's Just Physics guy.
Yes, the stick figures on skis.
One of the smartest witnesses I've ever listened to, and he was doing stick figures with them. But they made sense. I get it.
I could follow.
It
It was on my level. I connected with the guy.
Yeah.
All right. One other thing. We talked about food a little bit. I want to go back to that. California has determined that that more food causes cancer, and they're actually reaching out to the manufacturer, trying to get them to change their formula in Peeps. I mean, the Easter food, Peeps. It is a
little
food.
marshmallow.
I wouldn't say it's a treat.
Peep.
I think it's like a food group this time of year.
Yeah, it is for tag.
But the Peeps, apparently, the red dye in California, at least, it causes cancer. But
Not the yellow or any of the just the
I think
red
it's
dye?
the red. It's the red that's also found in like Skittles, and I think it's like Starburst. It's the same red dye, and if you read the warning label, like the what is it, Prop 65 or something, I forget what it is. There's
Yeah,
some label they
put on
have
everything.
in California where they say it's known to the state of California or to cause cancer, but none of the other states know about this. I don't know why California knows about all these cancer-causing things and doesn't tell anyone else about it. But
No one
only
else.
California knows that it's a problem. And they're trying to get
Yeah.
Peeps to change the ingredients. And it's actually a bill going through the legislature to encourage / force products
So
to
Jay
change.
Hughes says, yeah, Skittles, hot tamales, which are some of my favorite, as well as Mike and Ike's, which are also my favorite. So this is, if it changes the flavor, I mean, there's a reason the red, for the majority, I mean, is some of the best. So yeah,
And
leave the Peeps alone or the bunny gets it.
AJ says, thank goodness I eat the yellow Peeps by the crate.
Oh, boy.
Adam's in Indiana, so he's safe from cancer. Red dye is in so many foods. It is. Red dye number 2. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's got to be right.
Which I don't know what color that is, but red dye is just about in every single food.
Okay, educational moment. Mary Murphy says red dye is very bad. My child has ADHD, cannot drink or eat anything with red dye. So
And
learning lessons behind everything.
and Kitty Kitty Bang Bang says it might be in pet food as well.
Oh man.
Why do you think the pets wouldn't eat it without the dye? Or is that just for the owners to think, oh, that looks nutritious. It's got a good blend of materials in it.
It's got to be for the owners. You could make a bag of dry food look all brown, not with the red squares and the brown squares. I agree. I think they wouldn't know.
Wildfire, I used to eat cherry jello mix straight from the box. I can see this.
Like fun dip
the-
or just eat it.
Okay, picture this. Picture this. As soon as jello mix touches moisture, it stains whatever it's touching. Whether it's the wooden spoon you're stirring it with or anything, and so I can imagine your face or your clothes as a kid trying to scoop up this and getting it all over yourself. And then the next week, basically you have to either scrub it off with like loose layers of skin or just let it just fall off naturally over time.
It's like a sunburn that never goes away.
Your parents must have loved that.
Oh, that reminds me of that candy fun dip where it's packets of sugar with a hardened sugar stick
Yes.
that you use to scoop it up.
Genius marketing idea.
Good night. I look back at how many of those I ate, and I can't believe that I was allowed to ever buy it.
It's like ingredients, sugar.
That's it.
It's like, and you can eat it with sugar. And when you're done, you eat the hardened sugar because you've got a little bit of sugar left over, and then you can
Chip a
lick,
tooth with the hardened sugar when
tear,
you're done with
tear
the
open the
powdered
bag and lick the remnants out. What I mean, that's like $1 million idea. I've got an idea. Let's give kids sugar. Parents must just hate this company. Good stuff.
Yeah, Amy C makes my teeth hurt. Amen. Same here. It's terrible.
Too much sugar. Dentists are loving it. But
You know what? Let's dive into our top 3
okay.
based off that topic, because I know you and I had discussions a little bit about maybe what would be mine, yours. I was a little late to the party on my top 3, so I want to go with.
You're being generous. By late to the party, I changed the top 3 topic as we were prepping. We were already on the Zoom call prepping for the podcast. Doing the final audio check. And I'm like, by the way, let's change this part of the rundown. And Thomas, you're on the hook now. I had already prepared. I already knew I was going to change it, but I hadn't told him. So let's hear top 3. What's the topic first of all? Things that must.
Things that must go. We just got to get rid of
Okay.
out of society, stores, general life, whatever they might be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with I changed it. I found a few 3 before we started, but I'm going to go with extremely. I mean, there's a million, but extremely overloaded sugared candies for children. They got to go. At least in the States,
them.
because we have an issue here.
It's all of them. Seriously, I mean, you can't think of any candy. It's just sugar. As a country, we just market sugar to kids constantly. Breakfast cereal, unfortunately, falls high up there on that list for a lot of them, unless you're doing the Wheaties thing. And then you buy the Wheaties, and then you get out the sugar bowl and just scoop enough sugar on it that you can't taste the Wheaties, and then you're good to go. So number 3 for you was things that must go was over sugared treats for kids.
Yep.
My number three is going to be answering machine messages that tell you how to leave a message. It's
I
like
like that. That's annoying.
I know what the beep means. You don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to tell me. Please leave a message after the beep. When you're finished with the beep, hang up. When you're finished leaving the message, hang up. It's like, look, it beeps. I'm going to talk. I know. We know the drill. This isn't like a new technology that we're trying to spell out and just like, hey guys, I've got this idea. If you work with me here, we can communicate even if I don't answer the phone. Seriously, just to say, hey, I'm not here right now. Leave a message. That's all it needs to be.
Beep.
You don't even have to say leave a message. Say, hi, I'm not here. Beep, and then it will work. That's all we need.
And what's with the one that says when you're done with your message, press 1 or hang up?
Oh, seriously.
Why?
All that does is it triggers my anxiety. It's like, what did I mess up what I said? I have to go back and listen to it. But it's like, you press 1. Would you like to re-record? It's like, is there another option? Would you like to listen to your Yes, I'll listen to my message. Listen to the message. Would you like to append to the message? Or I'm just like, does that mean start over from scratch or add to the end? Too many
Can I
options. Just record it. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. What do we got? Some must goes in chat here.
Okay.
I saw one.
Ethanol gas, a 6-volt bus.
Okay.
Scam callers.
Not a drama llama. Self checkouts. I'm convinced they're out to get me. Scott, you've touched on this yourself before at Walmart.
I hate them. I hate them.
See?
I think I should be getting something for doing the job. I really do.
Discount 10% when you scan that item.
I can think it wasn't when I was a kid. When you went to the checkout stand, there was a bagger boy who was there. It was usually boys. I don't really call them bagger boys. It was a bagger person nowadays, or who would and you'd pull up and the first thing you'd say is paper or plastic, and we'd always be like, oh, paper, because we'd make book covers and things out of the paper bags. Which
Yeah,
and
for school books, you had to cover them up.
yeah, and so they'd bag them and they do a great job, and we'd watch because they're like super fast at doing it, and all your cold things went together, and the meat didn't get mixed with the bread, and it was just like a science. It was an art form, and they'd bag all your groceries, stick them in a cart, they'd push them out to your cart for you, and load them in the back of your car, and say thanks. See you next week. And now here I am trying to figure out, which, first of all, how to get the plastic bags open, which are like sealed, vacuum sealed shut. So you're sitting there, you're scanning things, your arms are full, and now you can't get the bag open, and the thing tears, and it's like, why is he glaring at me? Am I not putting enough in the bag, or am I putting too much? Yeah, it's, you got me started.
That preludes me right into my next one. I'm glad you said it.
Number 2, things that must go.
Number 2, things that must go. Paying for a bag. Certain states, when you walk in and you don't have one of your reusable bags, and because we don't in most places here in Texas, we don't. So when I go visit my dad and I go to the store to get us dinner ingredients and I put everything down and they say, paper or plastic? And I say, well, paper. They're like, okay, because you don't have a bag. It's 10 cents a bag or 15 cents. And I totally forget. And I'm like, don't charge me for this. Are you kidding me?
Is their margin so tight that the 3 cents they spent on the bag, which has their store brand name, so anywhere I carry it is advertising for them as well, the 3 cents they spend are, it'll break them? I would rather charge me $4 even for my spicy maple bourbon pickles, but give me the free bag, and I'd be okay with that.
It's all about principle. it's what it's about. I saw one before we skip ahead that I cannot agree with more as well. That's not on my list, but it deserves a shout out from AJ. It's a little bit further up chat, but she says group texts have to go. Oh. Amen.
AJ,
yes,
this is my number 1, but not quite. So I'm going to shuffle mine. I'm going to make this my number 2 just for you, because my number 2 now, things that must go, is the reply all button on emails. Any business that sends out emails to all their employees or all their customers, the reply all button is a no-go. It's a no-go. Usually with customers, they do a blind carbon copy. That's good. But so many people should have been fired because of that reply all button. That why is it even there? I mean, you want to say something to somebody, you go to reply, and it's like, oh, did I click the 1 arrow or the 2 arrows that are curving back towards the left? You make the wrong decision, and next thing you know, you've told the boss what you really think of him, and that's a no-go.
It's funny you bring it up, because I've had several customers over the last few years have replied all back to me, but they didn't mean to. They incorporated all their internal conversation talking about the deal I have proposed and who else
Just
they're shopping with
just lets you into
and
the
what they're balancing. So they exposed their whole deck of cards to me by hitting that reply all and including me in it. So I guess in that sense, I kind of liked it. But no, I agree. I don't like it.
Can you
Just half
imagine
the
how they
time,
felt as soon as they saw the email go out and they're like, "Oh crap."
I respond right away.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the feedback. And this
I'll
information.
be poring
this
over this for
information.
weeks.
Yeah. And you know someone gets in trouble for that right away.
Yes, yes. Those sort of mistakes, unfortunately, they have heavy penalties. What is your number one thing that must go?
So it actually hit me, and then I realized actually how serious it is because of a recent headline. So I honestly thought of it, and then I thought of the headline. But I know some people absolutely love them, and they'll watch them all night or all day and think it's great. But the YouTube prank channels that they not pranking like there's husband wife duos that do things, but the people that do stuff in public where there's people that go to like stricken neighborhoods and pretend to talk crap and start something. There's a lot of youngsters that go to stores and do stuff. Some of it's funny, but some of it's a little intrusive. And so when I picked it, it reminded me there was a young man, that's his channel, and he got shot
Yeah.
for one of his pranks. So he went to the
He
hospital.
was pulling a prank on
But-
somebody. The guy thought he was sort of being assaulted and drew and fired. And
Yeah.
luckily, I think he lived. He got shot in the stomach, and I think he's learned his lesson. He said, "I'm taking a break from YouTube for a little while while I recover, while the hole's patched up." But yeah, that to me has never been an entertainment I enjoy, where the pranks are at someone else's expense.
I agree.
It's-
If you're pranking someone you know because you know the line and how far you can take it, and you know their limit as well, it's all in good fun. I get it. But when you're doing it in the public or places of business and doing things, you're wasting people's time. You're affecting business, and you could end up with what happened. So,
Adam. Adam says, my number one is YouTubers injecting themselves into court trials. What are you talking about, Adam?
so he's only here for the podcast.
He's just here for the podcast. I'm going to click him on the naughty list. You're right there. Okay, that was the last time we saw from Adam.
Yeah.
People
The little
complaining
ban
about
button.
everything. Honestly, yeah, people complaining. Sometimes, in this world where you can order anything you want and have it delivered to your door in 2 days or less, type thing, we get the idea that we can have everything exactly the way we want it. And sometimes when
Right.
things aren't perfect, people think that they have the right to just throw a stink because I ordered it this way, type thing. And I realize if you ordered like a steak rare and they cooked it well done, you might say, hey, is it all right if I can get a steak that's rare? But
Yeah.
if it's like there's too many flecks of pepper on this, type thing, it's the complaining about details that don't matter that get me.
I'm with you there. If I get a cheeseburger with no tomato and I get tomato, I'm not sending it back. I'm just yanking the tomatoes off.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I get if some people have allergies and that's a big deal. That I understand. But no, I'll just take. It's not worth my time, their time. Plus, I don't know what they'll do to my burger after I complain about the tomato. So I'm just
This
gonna
is
take
the
it.
real concern. I worked at a restaurant. Did I tell you this? At McDonald's. That's as far as I can go without confessing to any sort of crimes that I probably still haven't elapsed the statute of limitations on.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. The fun stories. We'll share some of those another time.
No.
Did we cover all of our? Oh, my
I don't
number.
know.
My
You
number.
didn't get your number one in.
My number one. It was going to be my number two, but it's going to be my number one now. This is going to be websites, and I'm thinking news websites that like weekly redesign and completely redo their layouts. Like I don't know if they're hiring a new person every week to design the website, and they're like, well, let's change everything and let's put the search bar down in the bottom left-hand corner instead of right in the middle. Can you imagine if you had to hunt for the Google search bar? Okay, Google does it right, and I realize they've got their little Google sign, and it's like it changes, and it's sort of animated sometimes, and it celebrates different occasions or, moments in history and things like that. But you go to Google, and you know that the Google search bar is going to be right smack dab in the middle of the screen, and it's a white little bar with a black box around it. You type your word in there, you hit enter, and it's going to work. But sometimes you go to these websites, and it's like I just need to see the breaking news today, and sometimes you've got like a weird 3-column approach. And other times it's like, well, you've got it in sections horizontally and divided by region. And it's that for me, it has to go. It has to go.
I agree with
Says,
that.
sorry, Scott, boring.
No, no, I get that actually, because our company just went through a redesign last month.
Now you
And
know.
we keep tabs on everything. And when I go to find stuff and test our upload forms and whatnot, and I can't find it. So no, I get it. And that's my site. So I can't imagine being the customer that went, where did it go?
I can see doing some market research and saying, hey, we've got something that's not working and we need to make a tweak to it. But every week having something new, it's just keeping the web page designers in business.
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
And they claim they're doing it. They're going to help you because it's going to gain attraction and blah, 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 blah. It's all part of business. But I can't. Let's see. What do we got in chat? If you want hot fries, order no salt. Okay, so Mac, I've heard this, but I actually talked to an employee. So this is back to McDonald's. If you want hot/fresh French fries, order no salt. Then they ask for them and then ask for salt at the window. You can actually just ask for your French fries and say, I want fresh. And they'll make you fresh salted French fries.
Okay, so I think this is going to be less of a thing now because as more stores are automating some of the repetitive tasks in the store,
True.
even when I worked at McDonald's, there were stores that were starting to look at robotic cooking methods for things like fries, where it's something that gets cooked the same way every time. It doesn't involve a lot of human, like, oh, is it done yet type thing. It's like, no, ding, fries are done. That was it. You
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
But so now I think it's getting to the point where the time to order, because restaurants are trying to limit their cost, right? And it costs money if they cook fries and have to throw them out because they're soggy. Okay, that's lost profit. And so they're developing methods so that as soon as you order something that's entered on one side, the fries start cooking. And by the time you've paid and come up, the fries are done and it's out and they don't have any extra. It's the perfect amount. It's hot. You're happy. So I think soon the soggy fries will be a thing of the past.
That's going to be a heartbreaker because that's McDonald's staple. And if
Soggy
they start
fries.
messing with it. Well, I mean, actually,
You've got a
some
bad
people-
McDonald's, I think.
You don't like soggy fries from McDonald's? They're my favorite.
I prefer hot fries. I really do. But too hot is not good. I mean, I had some hot food. What was that? This week, and I completely scalded my mouth, and it was delicious for the first couple bites, and then I couldn't taste anything the rest of the week. And now I can't even remember what the food was.
That was your Chinese.
Yes, the Chinese. They cook
From
it
No
like
One
300
Chinese.
degrees from No One Chinese. It's like 300 degrees. It's like flash cooked. Like imagine like a meteor struck and like instantly just cooked something but didn't burn it. It's still just that hot and cooling down. And I don't know how they managed to keep the heat in those containers, but those, like NASA should study the Chinese food containers. The way they're shaped or something, it's just like a built-in convection oven or something that it just keeps going and going. Amazing.
Did you have plastic containers or the cardboard boxes?
It's a cardboard box, which I learned this. You can actually like take everything apart and like
where I was going.
do reverse origami, and it turns into like a plate.
It's a plate. That was the whole design. But none of us ever utilized. Well, I say none. I know I don't.
The downside, if you make it the plate, it's impossible to chase your food to the edge of the box and grab it with the chopsticks. You need a corner to be able to like catch it and be able to eat it that way.
It ends up off the counter, and it forces you to eat the whole thing. You don't get leftovers to put in the fridge because the box is done.
The box is gone. What's the deal with the ice cream machines at McDonald's? They are always broken. There's actually a story behind that.
Yes, there is.
Do you want
and
to
there's
tell it?
documentaries.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this is a real thing.
This is, from what I can tell, it's a real thing. So if you go to McDonald's, the ice cream machine or the milk machine, it's broken all the time, right? And Scott, you'll probably have to chime in. I'm going to miss a few details. It's been a couple of years since I watched this, but the McDonald's franchisee owners are forced by corporate to use the specific repair people for those machines.
There's like one company.
One company, it's a monopoly. The directions to clean and or repair for internal employees are so scarce that they don't help them at all for them to do simple remedial tasks. It's basically forcing them to call this company in to then get paid to do the repairs to where they're getting paid. The franchisees or the corporate's getting kickbacks from all the business they're getting. So us, the consumer, and the franchisee is toast because it's always out, it's always gone. Isn't that the generic
That's it.
story?
There's one company that you can't repair it yourself. It's by contract. They're not allowed to. It's like the machine is owned or leased from this other company or something, and they have the rights to repair it.
Yeah.
The parts, you can't buy them elsewhere. It's just from them. So that's the truth. So blame that company. Blame that whatever that agreement is they have that's still locked in place. It's an ironclad contract that prevents you from having your shake at McDonald's. That's really
There's a lawsuit.
There's a lawsuit. Okay.
True
Well,
story.
speaking of, well, I was going to say, speaking of fines, but that wasn't a fine. There was a story in the news about a fine. There was a library in Toronto. There was a story in the news about.
For our northern neighbors.
Hey, I just heard my audio back again.
So now you know what I've been
Yes.
going through.
Stop. Hang on.
So now you know what I've been.
Yeah. Why is camera 2 feeding it backwards?
Now you elevated my.
That was on camera 2.
This is live, folks.
This is live. Okay. I feel like Inception. I'm sorry you've had to put up with this. This is really bad. Okay.
Yeah, everything we say, I get it 2-3 more times on the way down. But I've gotten used to it, actually.
I've got to fix it. I don't know what's causing it, but I just made it happen on my side by turning up a sound effect for my Apple TV of all things.
Now we're getting commentary on the trial.
All right. Well, are you guys hearing it too? I mean, you can hear it when I turn it up like this. You can. All right. Well, yeah. So now you can hear it when I do that, but I'll turn it back down. Thomas, I am so sorry. The voices in your head, that would drive me nuts. How are you doing that?
I've got 3 in here and 3 in here. It's just going back and forth, back and forth.
You guys, it is so bad.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on.
It's like when I was a kid, our neighbors had a little reel-to-reel machine that you could record your voice on and play on, because the play head and the record head were at different points. And so you could set it up so it was recording and then playing back to you like 3 seconds later, which is, very similar to what you're experiencing right now. And so you'd put the headphones on, and we'd use like noise canceling headphones, so you couldn't even like hear yourself speak very well. You have the volume turned up, and you try to just recite something like "Mary Had a Little Lamb," and then as your voice starts chiming in, as a couple seconds later, you can't finish your thought. You can't do "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" anything. It's because of the voice, and you're doing the entire podcast like that.
Yeah, so if you say Mary had a little, by the time I hit lamb, I'm already hearing Mary had a again, like coming right up the boot. That's I'm getting it right now.
Oh my goodness.
Up the boot. That's how it works.
I am mortified that I'm sending that signal to you. Last time you couldn't hear me at all, right? Last time you couldn't hear me at all. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Don't do that to me. Don't do it. All right. Let me talk about this library book. We've got to finish this tonight. It wasn't a library book. It was actually an album in Toronto. 40 years late, it was returned to the library. It had been checked out for so long that I think the copyright had expired on the music while it was checked out. It was called, let's see, Music from the Time of Pretorius by Fritz Neumeyer was the LP that was checked out. And,
did you look it up at all to listen to it?
No, I probably should, but
I kind of want to now too. I'm kind of peaked.
It's dance music from the time of Pretorius.
Well, if the copyright's expired, you might have more music for your channel.
Now we can play it. Guess what? New theme song right here. Just have to get the library to send the record down. We'll get that set up.
40 years.
40. It's almost like half a lifetime.
So the person that returned it certainly couldn't have been the one that rented it, right?
I can't think of anyone who would be interested in dance music from the time of Pretorius for 40 years.
Let's watch chat. I don't know.
And if you have that that's checked out right now, or maybe it's on your hold list up in Toronto, you've been waiting for it to be turned in, it's now available. You can go pick it up.
The integrity of the returner. Hey, library.
It says Toronto Library on it. You've got to think this is probably somebody passed away, and the kids are cleaning out And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my goodness, Grandma stole from the library. What do you do about it?" Like, we could just
And
drop it
she
off
was
in the little slot, just drive by, stick it in there, and no one will be the wiser. It's a
oh
small
my.
niche. Yes, not many people check that one out. Was there a fine? I don't know how they would assess it. Usually, when it's that bad, the library just like writes it off. They get more press from the fact that it was turned in than they.
Well, and what 35 years ago they wrote it off the books and it was stolen and lost and already gone. So
It might have
they
been paid
recovered
for.
it through
I mean, the
grants
person
or
might
something.
have checked it out and then lost it and had to pay for it already, and now it was found again.
True.
So the library.
This brings me back to the Blockbuster days with the card and the
Did you ever lose something from Blockbuster?
well, lose no, but when I was young, did I forget to remind my parents that I have this video game so I could keep playing it type thing maybe. But
Was it on their card? Was that
oh yeah, yeah, back then. Yeah, when I got older, it was my card. Everything went right
mom?
back on.
Mom, didn't you return that? No. Oh no, it's the worst from Blockbuster is you check something out and you're like in a hurry to run home and play it, and you don't actually look at the disc, and they do the whole thing. They flash it when they look at it,
Yeah.
and they didn't say, "Oh yeah, this is a bad one," and then stick it back in. They're like, "Yeah, it looks good to me here," and you turn it, and they're like, "It's scratched." And you're like, "I took it home to play it, and it wouldn't load." I had a few fees that I think weren't rightfully mine because of that, because the disc was scratched when I got it.
That's fair. I kind of miss the Blockbuster experience, especially, and I'm going to take this back to the mid to late high school years. You got your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you're going to go drive to Blockbuster, rent a movie. You spend the time sifting through the genres that you guys want, and you're both pretending to not have a preference just to make it easy on the other. And
You
then
end
you
up
finally find one, I guess, that neither of you want to watch.
Nobody wants
but
to
you
watch
pick
it.
it out. No one wants to watch it. And then there's some candy at the counter, and it's just, I mean, that's an hour's worth right there. It was kind of fun experience.
Yeah, but for me, I always had the anxiety that the person in front of me, like down the aisle, probably was getting the good last copy of the good movie that I wanted, and so I was drawn to where other people were because I'm like, they're probably at the good one already, and if I can like squeeze in and grab it before they get it, it's probably what I need to do. So I was the rude person who's like, "Oh, pardon me, excuse me," grab whatever you're looking at. I'll check it later, see if it's what I want, okay? Because there's a good chance it's the last copy.
Yeah. Or sometimes you go to get the movie and it's gone, but you go to the counter and they check the return stack and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it's sitting right here. Here you go." It always made me wonder, do they ever scan that in so the guy that turned it in got credit for returning it?
Okay, my wife, Mrs. R.A., she goes by Homeschool Ground Zero on her YouTube channel. She homeschools. We go to the library all the time. Like, we always have 30 plus library books checked out. Any day, we have 30 or so library books floating around our house. And the kids read every single one of them, usually within the first 3 or 4 days. Doesn't matter how big they are. My kids will tear through books, and they just read and read and read, and they love it. But
So books and loaves of bread.
yes,
No chance in the RA
they don't
household.
survive. But we'll take back all the books and stick them all in the slot and everything, and then we'll get a notice from the library. It's like, "Hey, this book's overdue." And we're like, "Oh, no, we returned that," and so we've got to the point where we were saying, "Okay, we need to go to the library and make sure that book's on the shelf." Because I bet they just forgot to scan it and put it on the shelf. And we found it several times. We're like, "Hey, see this book right here? I bet if you scan it across your computer, it says that I still have it checked out, but it was on your shelf." We did that over and over. And then eventually they said, "You can just call us and we'll check for you." And so now
Fair.
we call them and say, "Hey, did you guys miss-scan this one?" They're like, "Yep, we got it. No problem."
That's funny. Speaking of Mrs. RA, did you see her comment in chat?
I never do. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
It's not too long ago.
Let's see. There it is.
Homeschool Ground Zero is the name, in case you didn't. So, I don't remember teasing it. I thought I told the whole story.
She says,
Do you
"What-
remember this,
You
Scott?
teased a story last week about a police read along that included a chase and an injury. Inquiring minds want to know."
I thought I told the whole story, but am I wrong? Does anyone in chat remember this being teased,
I think
or
he
did I
needs to
tell the
tell
whole
it
story?
again.
Tell it again.
Tell it again. I have the memory of a goldfish. I don't remember what we did in our podcast last week. So I don't
I
think you
guess
told it.
I guess I don't either.
I do not remember. It says red pen. Red pen would be the one to ask. I can't
True.
remember. Thursday says 6-volt bus. Tell it again, says Minsky. Okay.
I can't remember what there's to tell again.
It might be a
Okay.
repeat, but we're going to do it.
Okay, yeah. On Mrs. R.A.'s request, completely off topic, off script of the podcast, but it just so. For those of you that don't know, I grew up in a law enforcement family, and that was kind of my background. And then, so by nature, I have a lot of friends in law enforcement. So my best friend, he's retired now, but he was a sergeant and lieutenant at our local police department for 25 years, something like that. He was working graveyard one night and said, "Do you want to go on a ride along?" I said, "Absolutely. I love it. Let's go." So we're doing the normal ride along stuff. He's showing me this, that, and other things. And because he's my best friend, I'm getting some liberties in certain areas. We showed up.
Like
There's
access,
downtown. There's this
access
little,
that you wouldn't normally
yeah.
get. Okay.
There's this little drive-up biker bar downtown. So he pulls up, and they come walking out. And, "What can we do for you, officer?" And he makes up a lie. He says, "Well, we got the biker gang task force officer from DC here, just checking things out." I mean, he's a hilarious guy. He's funny, just lying. Anyways, we go to this part of town that's pretty quiet, pretty dark, and it was the wildest thing. He just said, "I'm going to sit here, lights off for a minute." And this is about 3 o'clock in the morning. Just things seem weird. And chugging my for Letitia. So sure enough, this woman goes running down the street, looking over her shoulder frantically. And so our immediate thought is she's being chased. She's in danger. So he turns on his headlights, not his overhead lights, and it goes speeding in that direction in hopes of cutting someone off that might be chasing her. Well, we don't see anyone, and we look over, and she sees us, and she ducks in this alley behind a car. So immediately go, "Oh, she's actually hiding from the police." So does a quick turn down the alleyway, and it's kind of between these mobile homes and this retirement center, and it's a dead end, and she's running, and she jumps a fence. He gets out, and he takes off after her. And I'm sitting in the patrol car.
You're playing with the lights and turning the siren and things like that.
Yeah, and you sign a piece of paper that says you do not do anything, you do not engage, unless the officer you're with is in immediate danger or death, then you can assist. Something like that is what you sign off on. Well, so I get out, because we're not in the most popular part of town, to see if I can hear anything, if he's yelling at her or, anything like that. Nothing. I've got nothing. So I open the car back up to see if I can hear the radio communication. Nope. Took keys off, just gone. So I'm standing there looking in the direction. It's on the other side of this chain link fence, and I see in a bush the woman that took off running. She takes out her cell phone and lights up her face. She does this number while she's sitting in a bush, and I go, "Oh,
Because nobody sees cell phone light. Yeah.
yeah!" At 3 a.m. in a dark alleyway, hidden. And so I'm going.
She just blew her cover.
What do I do? What do I? So I look, I see my friend, he is 400 yards away. I see his flashlight bouncing, running the opposite
He's still
direction.
chasing a
He's
shadow.
still chasing something that doesn't exist. So I decide, his
gonna
name's
catch
Mike.
it,
I decide I'm going to yell. I just say, "Mike, she's over here. Can I chase her?" And the flashlight turns around in my face from a million miles away, and he just screams, "Yes!" Well, she naturally is really close to me, takes off down another alley. So I run to this chain link fence, and I go to scale it like I'm a cop on the run. Well, there's no crossbar at the top, so it's real flimsy.
Mm-hmm.
So it hooks into my knee and my jeans, and I catch it, and I just tumble over the top of it and fall on my back. But your adrenaline is just going full blast. So I'm sprinting down the alleyway, I turn the corner, running, and I see her dive under this trailer home that has 3 little stairs to the door.
Right.
And all I have is a little thing that says "Ride Along Guest" and
You
a
got the sticker.
flashlight.
"Hi, my name is Thomas."
It might as well have been, right? I didn't even have a squirt gun. So I have a flashlight, adrenaline's going. I don't know what she's doing, who she is, what's happened. So I just flashlight in the face, and I'm yelling, "Don't move, don't move, don't move," as much as I can. And I hear, a duty belt behind me going, "Chick, chick, 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 chick," which seemed like it took an hour. Yeah. So he finally, out of breath, at gunpoint, "Do not move, get on your back," whatever, cuffs her. And Funniest story in the world. So meanwhile, backup that he radioed for, they can't find how to get into the alley. They're just circling and circling. And albeit he's the lieutenant on duty, so we get her in the car, we get over there, they find their way in, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a med kit so you can take care of my buddy?" And don't say a word. That's what he says to the officer working.
This better not be in a report.
Yeah. So the best part of it all, as fun as that sounds, we didn't know who she was and what was going on or the danger. She's a 16-year-old little girl that was doing stuff she wasn't supposed to do. Her mom was the city nurse that did the physicals for the PD. So he finds this out. He's like, "We're taking her home." So we drive to the house. He goes to knock on the door at 3:30 in the morning, and she's in the back of the car. And she says, "Hey, so are you on a ride along?" And "Yeah." And she goes, "I got caught by the fake cop." I'll never forget it ever.
Oh,
So
what an
it was-
embarrassment.
I called my dad, who was a sheriff at a big city for like 45 years, to tell him the story, and he was livid that my friend took me on this ride along and let me get in a foot pursuit. But
Because he's saying that, he knows what could have happened. It could have been like, she could have been armed. She could have turned on you. It could have been, all
I had
sorts
no
of
idea who I was chasing down this alley. I had no clue.
6
And
different
I'm
ways that
unarmed.
could have gone wrong, in a heartbeat. But
A million ways. I look at it now, I'm like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. But it makes for a great story on a Friday night podcast now. So
that's awesome. I've never had that excitement. I've filmed traffic stops, which is about the most excitement, and DUI stops where we got, like, I'll tell you this: the cops, when there's a DUI driver, it's sort of like a competition to catch them, right? Obviously, you want to get them off the street for safety reasons, but
Yes.
the cop who can get it gets bragging rights, and the way they brag, everyone knows on the radio who pulled it over. They call him,
right.
Victor 7, I got a 1028 one number. He calls in and he does the whole, calls in the license. Everybody knows what's happening. They can hear. But the other cops who were like second, they're like in the area and they like just drive by type thing just to make sure everything's okay. And the cop who won, okay, who made the stop, it's like tradition. Every like open bottle, every can has to be like stood up on the hood. They're set up like trophies. So all the other police officers who go by, like, "Yeah, I got one. Look at this one. See all the prizes right up there on the top." Yeah, it was. Anyway, we did that. It was a lot of fun. We went like 120 miles an hour. No seatbelts because the officer I rode with, he's like, "The seatbelt slows me down. I need to be able to jump out of the car." I'm like, "Well, if we crash, you're going out of the car for sure." At that speed. But we were like there were 2 lanes, one direction, 2 lanes the other, and a little, I guess call it a suicide strip down the middle, like a turning lane. And we're doing 120 down that center lane in the middle of the night. And it's like, I mean, it's a road that has some hills and everything. Highway 89 in Kaysville, for those that are familiar with Utah. And we were going so fast it felt like a roller coaster. Like the hills, you'd go down like, whoa, sort of the ups and downs. And he's got the thing pegged. We had to catch him before they got to the county line. That's the thing, because county line's the stop. We don't pursue beyond the county line because then the other guys get it. But as long as you light them up before this side, then you're good to go. And we did.
Then it's game on.
It was like 99 bottles of beer on the car was what it was.
99 bottles of beer in the car. So while we're in the stores, I got one more story.
Let's hear it.
When it goes. Same friend. I am actually at this time on a date with a girlfriend at this time, driving her car. And at that time, it was one of the brand new 5.0 Mustangs that came out. It's extremely quick car at the time. And so he's working nights. And I give him a call when we're done at the casino. And so, yeah, head back into town. We're in this area. And he goes, "Well, hey, there's a main overpass here in town." He goes, "I'm going to be at the bottom of that. Why don't you come on down the overpass and just get after it, and I'll just chase you." This is late at night. This is about 1 a.m. So I said, sounds great. And it's a good stretch of highway. So I come over the overpass, and I see him sitting there with just his parking lights on. Get next to him. He turns on his overheads, and he gets behind, and I just punch it. And I've got him on the Bluetooth in the car while we're just gunning down this highway. So we get, I don't know, probably about 3.5, 4 miles at triple digit speeds. And he says, "Okay, you have to pull over because people are going to start calling in because I'm the only unit." And so there's a shopping market exit. So I pull in, and sure enough, A few random people on the side of the road wanted to see what was
I
going
was like,
on.
I'm
So
a
they
witness.
pull
I'd
in.
like to write a statement, press
Yes,
charges.
100%. So he gets out of his car and he's screaming at me like it's a
Press
real
charge.
deal, gets me out of the car. He didn't cuff me, but he put me against the car like he was going to cuff me just so all the bystanders realized everything was okay. And
Guess
he
what I
did a
just
lot of things
fixed?
back in the day. He realized, man, I should have been fired. For things I did goofing around, I should have been fired.
Did I just fix your audio? No. Is there an echo on your end? Is it still?
No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I think you did. It's gone.
So it might have been on my side. I'm not
But
saying.
now,
I'm not saying. Okay. One more story. I used to work in an IT world where we had to call another location to handle a certain part of the IT. So there's local network, and then there's like the headquarters network guys. And every time there was a problem at headquarters network, you'd call them, and it takes like 4 hours to get somebody on the phone. And they're like, "What's the problem? Yeah, fill out the form, send it an email. We'll get to it when we get to it," type thing. You're like, "No, we need to fix this right now. It's really urgent." Government networks, things like that. And you'd finally get somebody on the phone. There's like, "Okay, explain it again." We'd explain it, and you'll say, very specifically, "We know this is the problem. We've tested it. We know it's on your side right there." And like, "We'll look at it and we'll check it out." And they check it out, and they'd be like, "Try it again." And they're like, "Hey, it's fixed." And I'm like, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong on our side. We couldn't find anything." Every single time. I don't know why I thought about that. There was whatever story we were telling before led to that. But the audio. There was nothing wrong on my side. It just fixed itself. That's why I thought of that. Sorry. That's it. For me, the connection was very close. You guys are all looking at me going, "I'm not sure what he's talking about." But I fixed
An
the
hour
audio.
and 6 minutes in, I have no echo. You are loud and clear. It's synced up.
Now
We
you want
could
to
just-
start over? And
I'm going to start over, cue the music, and do it again.
no, we'll wait. Let's jump back to we've been so off topic here. We're going a little bit long. We've got a few other stories we wanted to cover. Do you want to jump back right into the menu a little bit? Have you?
Let's do it.
Are we going to do over and under? Have you got anything ready?
I haven't done over. I haven't.
I think overrated's going to be my audio live streaming skills today. But
Dang it.
we've done things that must go. You've got a current event right here. You see that one?
I do. I've got the hot dog. I just feel like I've been telling stories all night.
Okay. Then I'm going to do my over and under. And
Go
if,
for it.
if you don't
I
have
feel
one,
like you're primed.
I understand.
The audio's perfect, by the way.
Over and under is the segment where we describe a little bit of things that we think are overrated or underrated and either need more exposure or less exposure. It's sort of like a version of things that must go or things that must be more.
Yeah.
Like so, here's what I wanted to go with, and we've mentioned this briefly in the live stream today earlier, and it's come up a couple times. But underrated, I think the 3M Post-it notes are underrated.
Are they that much better than standard?
Well, 3M is the one who developed it. Okay, so they've I guess sub-licensed it, or maybe the patent's worn off or something like that. But the reason why they're underrated is actually the story and how they came to be.
They're an accident, right?
It was like a failure. They were trying to develop like a permanent adhesive, something that would really work, and it failed. And instead, they made Post-it notes, or actually, they made the adhesive that was a little bit sticky, but not very sticky, and it seemed to just be reusable. So I think that would be underrated for that reason. Somebody was saying at one point during the live stream today, we were sharing a police chase in the corner while we were watching court, and a couple people were like, "Hey, this is just too much. Get rid of the police chase." And somebody had suggested just stick a Post-it note over that corner of your screen, and you'll be fine, right? And that made me think of the Post-it note story. So that's going to be my underrated, and a similar,
I like that.
a similar but somewhat different overrated is painter's tape. The blue painter's tape, and you can see the relation here. Okay, they're supposed to be temporary adhesive. The problem is I'm a little bit of I don't paint on the same schedule most people would. You think, "Oh, I'm going to paint and I want to get in, get out, get it done, and move on." That sometimes my painting projects might span several months or even over a calendar year. Okay, in a specific room, and I'll do
That
part of the
adhesive
painting.
is a little different.
it doesn't peel off quite the same. I mean, after like 6 months, it bonds permanently with whatever it's been attached to. And it's, instead of being like this painter's tape, like in the commercial, you stick it on, then it peels right off and you have this new wall and the nice crisp line. It's more like that glue that's on the rat traps, those sticky traps. It's like, and it's pulling wood and bits of the wallpaper and plaster and things off the wall. I'm like, don't market it as removable tape if, when I need to remove it, which might be a little later than you anticipate, it's not removable.
Well, Scott, bubble gum will do that if you leave it long enough. You can't. It's gotta be.
I'm not a heathen. I don't put bubble gum on the wall. It goes under the chair like a respectable person.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. That's funny. 6 months later, I can't. Yeah, it doesn't come off. All right. So I'm on a whim here because I don't have everything made out, but I am gonna go overrated first, and not everyone will relate, but most overrated is just the quick once a week lawn service to do your yard for you. For like $20 a week, they come and knock out your lawn and off they go.
You're talking like the truck with the trailer, and they've got like the weed eater and the blowers and the mower, and it's like, and it's done.
Yep.
It's overrated.
It's overrated, and I get you can hate doing your own yard, pay the extra to get a legitimate company that cares. And the reason I say that is in our neighborhood, we've got actually a string. It's kind of sad, but they're awesome. Of widows across the way, and so their husbands no longer do their yards, so they've hired.
That's what by definition the widow typically.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, that got dark.
Insert Adam's comment now. Waiting for that to. So no. Anyways, they had such beautiful yards, and as they grow, and it's spring, and we see them, and they come in and they just plow them down and mulch them to nothing. And they just blow the grass everywhere and leave junk, and they take off. And I feel terrible.
Quick buck.
Because it's just, you get a legitimate company, pay a little bit extra, and it's just, so anyways, that's
okay. So you mentioned lawn care. I have to insert a story here. My little kids, well, let's back up further than that. When I moved here to North Carolina, we bought this lot, and it's actually 2 lots next to each other. So we have like, I don't know, it's close to 3/4 of an acre total between the two. So it's a good sized lot.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, hey, I've never had one before. I've always wanted a riding lawnmower. Okay. I'm not going to do a push mower anymore if I've got 3/4 of an acre and we're in North Carolina where things, you have to mow twice a week, just to keep up, so you can still see the road over the bushes type thing. You're fighting nature constantly here in North Carolina. It's you don't have to like try to grow things. You try not to grow things. It's the opposite. So got the riding lawnmower. Awesome. It's a John Deere, green. It's half the size of me, but I feel like I'm like a farmer out on tractor, just loving it. And I feel like a real man out there on the John Deere lawnmower.
Straw hat.
Yeah, the full works, and then I've got the phone holder and everything in the cup and everything. It's good. I turn the lights on, even though I don't, who mows their lawn at night? But my tractor has lights, so turn the lights on, because you can. Love it. It wears off a little bit. The fun of mowing the lawn is not as fun after, say, like the 3rd or 4th time, and hence children. This is why we have kids, and so we've started to use that. Well, my younger 3 kids.
This is why we had kids.
This is why we have kids. My younger 3 kids this week were like, "Hey, can I try driving the lawnmower?" And so the oldest of the 3 younger ones is the perfect age. He can start it, he can turn it, he can drive. He's got the skills. He's big enough that he can drive it. He's 12-ish years old, and
12-ish.
I was close, right, Mrs. R.A.? And so it's perfect. Next down is a little bit difficult to actually start it because you have to be able to push the pedal all the way in and sit on the seat that has the safety trigger and start it. But once it's going, she's
golden.
She can back that thing up better than I can back up a trailer. She's really good. She's really good at driving. The youngest is barely big enough to push the pedal while sitting on the seat, and so the safety mechanism kicks in, and it means when Bud is out of seat, engine stops, so it kills the engine. It's like an electrical shutoff.
Right.
And so I wish I could show you how this looks. So he's like, I know how to do it. And since the seat has like a tip feature so you can get to the gas tank underneath, he grabs the seat and tips it forward. So it's like leaning forward. So he's standing up. It's pushing against his butt. He's like doing this half squat thing. Well, he's got one foot down, one foot on the gas pedal, and he's steering with the other. And he holds the switch with... He's figured out how to do this. He's completely defeated the safety mechanism on the mower. And so he can cruise around the yard with the mower.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you homeschool.
Yes.
You'll be smarter than the machine.
The kid is smart, Red Pen. Yes. So I'm just saying, if you need someone to mow your lawn, I've got 3 kids who are very, very interested in doing some lawn care for somebody with a riding lawnmower, and maybe your neighbors could benefit.
So that's going to shoot me right into my most underrated.
Okay.
So I love doing our yard work. I absolutely love mowing, weed eating, edging, everything. I love it. It's my getaway. I sit where I'm sitting right now all day from 6:30 a.m. until Friday nights at 8:15 p.m. So getting out, doing the yard, mowing, I enjoy it.
Okay.
So forever, Mrs. Weatherwatch was like, we got to try the electric mower. And I'm like, no. Going back to the Tesla stuff, I like combustion engines. That's my thing. I appreciate Tesla and how fast and all that, but I love gas-powered engines. So I refused and refused and refused. Obviously, you know where this is going. She won the war.
Yes.
And you talk about having the lights on your mower and who does it at night. I got the thing home at night. It was like 2 steps to put it together. The battery was already 92% charged. I turned it on. It was so quiet. It has this giant LED strip. It was incredible.
You mowed your lawn at night.
4 of our nearby neighbors have the same mower now because I sell that sucker to everyone I come up.
You should get like a commission or some sort of kickback for referrals on that.
That's what everyone says. It's incredible.
So tell me about the mower. What brand is it?
So it's actually it's from Ryobi, which I used to absolutely hate.
Their 40-volt lineup?
Yep.
Okay.
40-volt lineup. I used to absolutely hate Ryobi. They were junk. They're much better now. It's a good homeowner's brand. But the 21-inch deck, it's so quiet. We have a decent front and backyard. With one battery charge, I can do the front and the back and the front and still have a little bit left. But I got the couple weed eaters and blowers and the edger and everything with all the batteries. So we always got batteries charging.
You've now bought into the Ryobi ecosystem, and everything you use in your lawn from now on will have to be Ryobi brand. I'm the exact same way. I've got the weed eaters, the blowers, all the tools, the flashlights, bike pumps, jigsaw, circular saw, reciprocal saw. I have the whole set. Almost everything they make, I have one of. Because the batteries are the same and they fit.
That's it. It's the most brilliant marketing. You start with the first one. It says the tool plus the charger plus the battery, right? And it's like $500 for whatever it is you're getting. Well, then you're like, oh, I really want the hedge trimmer. And it's like the tool's $90, or the tool and the battery is another $350. So you're like, well, I already got the battery. I don't need. And so you just collect it. So you can't get something that doesn't match because it all works. So it's brilliant.
It's like Apple. It's like Apple, says Red Pen.
Absolutely. It's stinking chargers that go with it and everything else. But they are so, I say underrated. I know a lot of people love them. I say underrated because I refused for way too long, and they have been amazing.
Man. I am curious that, because occasionally the lawn maybe doesn't receive the care that it should on the schedule that it should. And it might get a little bit taller than the tires, the 12-inch tires on my tractor. And I'm wondering how does a battery mower compare to the good old, the petrol power of the gas powered?
So that's funny. That's a little too tall for the battery power. But the way the battery works in the brushless motor, when you get to grass that's a little too thick, it actually speeds it up to power through it. Whereas the gas mower,
it's a smart mower.
Yeah, but there is a limit to that. There is some grass where you could really force a gas mower through and make it happen, where the battery it'll stop. But what's cool, you just back up a hair, hit the button, and it turns back on, and then off you go. It's incredibly easy.
I might have to look at that. But
to caveat with that, I love detailing our cars. Mm-hmm. The electric power washer, because the second you let go of the trigger on the power washer, it shuts off. You don't have the gas one.
Yeah, motor
matter
going
what.
constantly.
Yeah.
I used a gas powered pressure washer here about a week ago to blast a hole under my in the dirt under the driveway, so I didn't have to cut through the concrete and dig a trench, so we could put
Okay.
a conduit through for a pipeline. 4,000 psi.
Yeah,
It,
that's up
it
there.
cuts
Yeah.
through sands like a hot knife through butter. It was so quick.
Yeah.
And,
They
and I,
won't do that on the electric side, that's for sure.
no,
But if it's simple things like spraying down your house or washing a car, I think we're 2,200 psi. But the big one is the gallons per minute that you want to look for as well. That's actually regulates how that pressure comes out. That's important. But,
So,
anyways,
so Tag says, I have a real push mower. It doesn't require gas or electric. Just a teen needing to build some muscle mass. My weed eater is the only thing needing charged. Wait, the teen needs charged too. Just saying. Okay, Tag. I used to do lawn care way back in the day for my friend's brother's company. I think it was called like Park City Lawn Care and Snow Removal or something like that. So it was in Park City where Gwyneth Paltrow's case just happened. But we would do lawn care for rich and famous people who I don't know what they were paying us, but it was probably a lot less than what I was getting paid to do the lawn work.
right.
I'm pretty sure there was a healthy profit margin in there for his brother. But there was one place where we would mow like all the yards in this whole condo complex. Okay. And they're all tiny little yards and little fences around. And they were a pain in the butt to get around the fences. But there was one house that had to be mowed with a push mower. That was the
With
stipulation.
the real mower,
Like the little spinny blades, the little gears,
real
and grip. Yeah,
golf course style.
yeah. And we weren't even allowed to fill up our lawnmowers with gas on the street out in front of that. Like you could not have any gas near the property. And it's like, why did you take this job? He's just such a pain in the butt. Nobody wants to go around him because he's like, oh, you came too close to my line. And he'd be out there watching you like a hawk the whole time to make sure your gas-powered, poison machine did not get near his grass, which is the same grass everybody else had. It wasn't like they have like their own special brand of grass. But you say weed eater is the only thing that need to be charged. Growing up, we had like the golf practice version of the weed eater. Do you guys remember this? It's like you stand there and you swing. I'm not sure if it was marketed as like a golf practice tool or not, but it should have been. It's like a pole, a wooden handle, and on the bottom it's got a little L shape and a little saw blade that's sharp on both sides. And
It's like what the Reaper stands there with.
yeah, but it's like it comes down and then it goes over, and you just swing it. It's like a little L shape. Worst device in the world. Do not recommend. 2 out of 10. It was awful. It never.
How many times would you take a swipe and then the big chunk of what you just did when you stop falls on top of you when you go to take your next?
First, that's how it drops. But the worst part, you can't cut anything level when you're swinging in an arc.
No.
It's impossible. You'd have to move like half an inch at a time, and by the time you're done, you've thrown like all the discs your back out, like bulging discs and everything else. And then say you like had a little too much grass and you got a little carried away and it was too thick. You go with the big old power swing and it just grabs, and the grass just wraps around that. It's like and just torques you. Yeah. Worst device ever. I think probably people are handicapped now, like full on in their older age, are not able to use the lower half of their body because of what that tool does to them as a kid.
I remember that. We had the wooden handle and it was a blue blade.
Scythe is different because scythe is actually swung horizontally, right?
Right.
If you're like
This one
harvesting
is
wheat.
like in front of your feet.
Yeah, this is like full on like a golf club with a razor blade instead of a golf club on the bottom.
Yep. I see a lot of people talking reel mowers. And for those that don't know, it's real REEL, not a real REL. But yeah, the difference on those, your standard mower, the blade spins like a fan on top of the grass. A reel mower has blades that spin this way. It's a more precise cut.
More like a golf course.
Exactly. When you see people on the greens and whatnot, now they're gas powered. Even fairway mowers, huge machines, but they're real mowers. And most golf courses have a machine shop, and they have to resharpen and clean those every single day. And they're crazy expensive because they're so precise.
Yeah, and that's where they get the big bucks.
Big bucks.
Well, Thomas, we started with a golf story and we ended with golf mower story. It's almost like we came full circle on the podcast today. And
somehow,
somewhere in the middle, we were able to fix the audio problem that you lived through the first hour of. I do apologize profusely for that. No one heard it but you, but still, I'm mortified that you had to put up with that.
settled right in. Didn't even notice. until you fixed it.
That's awesome. Is there anything else we need to cover today before we actually like officially kick off the weekend?
I think we kick off the weekend. You've been on all day long, hour and a half long podcast. I know for those that celebrate Easter or don't, but just partake in the weekend of it being a holiday and have friends and family, I say we get the weekend started.
Let's do it. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone who's been here in chat. It's been fun to read your comments. I know we didn't put all of them up on the screen. Just know that we've read and chuckled at many, even though we didn't talk about. Just because we don't have time to get them all. I wish we could do a podcast that's just the comments.
Let's do next Friday. It's like half of its comments.
This is the comment section. We'll just be like, all right, chat, your turn. What do you have to say? And we'll go.
I love it.
Maybe you could like give us a challenge of things to talk about or something like that. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you very much, Thomas, as usual. Best podcast host ever. I'm so happy that we get to do this every week. Thank you very much for that. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready for Easter. I'm ready for all the treats. I'm ready for a whole bunch of peeps with the red number 2 in it. And all the craziness that brings with the hyped up sugar kids.
Hyped up sugar kids. Sounds like Easter. I'm excited too.
Awesome. Okay. With that, have a good night. We'll see you next week, 8 p.m. on the same place, probably, until we can figure out something better.
Until we can get it out.
All right. Thanks, Thomas. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.